Right. I guess I'll start now. Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Simone. I'm the Student Recruitment International Officer for Robert Gordon University. I will take questions after we finish with the presentation. So do write them down and I'll try to answer them as soon as much as I can or as in detail as I can. Right. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. So a little bit about Robert Gordon University to start things off. We have about 16,000 students studying with us from 147 countries across 11 schools. We are the top 10 UK universities to live and work in, according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. We deliver around 300 over courses, and we're the fifth in the UK for salary prospects. We have assisted about 28 businesses to start up by having this RGU Startup Accelerator program that started in 2018. I'll speak more about that later on. We are also ranked 46th in the world for our graduate employability. Okay, so the 11 schools that I was talking about, they are architecture, construction and survey, art and design, business management and accounting, computing, energy, oil and gas, engineering, health professions, law, laboratory, biomedical and sports sciences, information, communication and media, social work, and also social sciences. So a little bit of a picture of our Riverside campus. As you can see, the first top right corner, this little green building here, that's our library. It's called the Sir Ian Wood Building, which houses the students that are studying computer science, digital media, engineering, architecture, and pharmacy. And the green building is our library. I would encourage students to go to the 9th floor. It has the best view in the city, if I may say so myself. It has a view of the Aberdeen city. It's like a eagle's eye view, I would say. Anybody who goes and visit us, I always take them up there. That's one of my favorite places. The next building here, which is the Ishbel Gordon building, that's where the buses stop right outside. Now, this building is kind of important for you because that's where the student help point is. That's where you get your letters and things like that. And that's the building that houses the applied social studies courses, health sciences, and nursing as well. And then the next building is where RGU Sport is, where we have the gym, the climbing wall, and the swimming pool. Then further down, it would be the Aberdeen Business School, where most of the students would, our students from Canada would spend their time in. The Aberdeen Business School also houses law, as well as the creative and cultural business courses. Now moving on, if you're wondering where this student accommodation is, it's these two here. One is a round one and one's a square tower. And then further down, it's Grey School of Arts. And this is all connected. So there's a little pathway inside that connects us from the Grey School of Art all the way to the Sir Ian Wood building. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how fast you're walking. Right. Next thing I'll talk about and show you little pictures of our campus facilities. So we spent quite a few million pounds on this new campus. So as you can see, our sports facilities include the 3-floor gym, climbing wall, and the 25-meter swimming pool. Study areas for individuals and groups that are located around the campus. My personal favorite is the one that is right at the left corner. It's called a study pod, and students can book in time to use it. And it's a really great facility to use if you're like discussing certain projects with your classmates, because you can sort of like plug in your USB or your laptop and then pull that PowerPoint presentation onto the screen itself, and then you can sit there to discuss. Students are allowed to book the time slots through your student Moodle. So if there's 4 of you and you're only allowed, I think, an hour per slot, you 4 of you can book up 4 hours of that study pod slots. So outside the study pod, they will have names, and that's how you book them. So a little bit more photos of the facilities. The architecture school have all sorts of like woodwork, etc. The media courses and the broadcasting and journalism would have all of these. Computing would be like networking stuff that you can play around with. And the bottom corner here is the library. So you can see that you have open plan, you have desk. Some of you might want to prefer to bring your own computers to use, and that's totally fine. And the library has photocopy machines and things like that as well. If you want to have a virtual tour, feel free to do that. I have provided a link right on top here, and you can click through that and to have a look at the campus facilities. So why come study with us? RGU has been awarded a TEF Gold. TEF Gold is a teaching excellence framework that the UK universities use. By being awarded a gold, that puts us at top 20% of the UK universities for the quality of its undergraduate teaching and learning. Some of our achievements: we have 97.6% graduate employability rate, and that puts us as number 2 in the UK for that, and for number 46 in the world for this graduate employability. What does that really mean? It means that all our students that graduate from RGU, 97.6% of them will eventually find a job within 6 months, or they will go back into school, say, take their masters and things like that. So that's really, really high, given the fact that there's 18,500 higher education institutes in the world. So some accreditations that our schools have. So Aberdeen Business School, I would say AACSB, and the business graduate has been the more recent ones they've gotten the accreditation. What is AACSB? AACSB is a accreditation that puts us to similar, like it's sort of similar to studying in McMaster's University in Canada, or Queen's, Wilfrid Laurier, Concordia, because only the top 5 business schools in the world hold this accreditation. It's really, really difficult to get. And then obviously some of the course specific ones like ACCA for accounting, or CIMA, CIPD and things like that. For the creative and cultural business, we call it CCB for short. Because they have programs such as like fashion management, events management, hospitality and tourism management, you will see that some of our students have gone off to work in some of the big brand names. And the accreditations they get is like Institute of Hospitality, CIM, which is Chartered Institute of Marketing, and things like that. Moving on, it would be our School of Computer Science and Digital Media. Obviously, they're accredited by the Chartered Institute for IT in the UK, and also Cisco. The school, I have to say, have a very dedicated IT support team, and students from the computing program would have certain labs that it's only for the use of students in the computing program. And this is because they need more powerful PCs and things like that. And I must highlight as well that all of these computers in the whole of RGU are updated every 3 years. So that's a lot of money that we spend upgrading and keeping ourselves updated in technology, I must say. Moving on to the Scott Sutherland School of Architecture. It's the 3rd oldest in the UK in terms of School of Architecture. We are accredited by all of these. And then the School of Health Sciences, where a lot of students probably want to come and study the Applied Sport and Exercise Sciences. We are accredited by REPs and PDE. Okay, so the more important stuff: how to transfer to us to get your bachelor degree. So students from our partner colleges, if you're holding a diploma or advanced diploma, it takes 1 to 2 years to be able to get your bachelor degree with or without honors. And these are some of the subjects that we offer. So for the business school, it will be management with marketing, human resources, or international business. In the creative and cultural business school, it will be hospitality, tourism, events, fashion management, digital marketing, that is from September 2021 onwards, media and journalism. As for IT and the computing school, application software development, computer science, digital media, cybersecurity, whereas the health school will be the sports and exercise science, and architecture will be architectural technology. I'm not going. You can have a look at all the listed subjects according to the partner college that you're from, and you can visit that in the website that I've put on this slide here. Right. For the master's degree, students that have a degree in Canada already or a graduate certificate, you will be able to obtain a master's degree from us in a year or less, depending on what you have. In terms of that, the subjects that we have, it's management, and these are some of the courses that's available for you to either transfer some credits or you start off as 1 year and finish with a master's with us. So in general, a lot of students might not know the master's in UK only takes 1 year to complete, whereas in Canada, it takes 2 years to complete. Right, I will move on because I've already mentioned everything down there. And some of you might be curious about the classes and how the format is. So it's usually 60 credits per semester for undergraduate students. And each semester you take about 4 modules or 3 to 4 around there. In general, classes are from 9 to 5. That does not mean to say that you go for classes every single day. There will be days when you do not have class, or you will have classes for just an hour. And there will be always 1 lecture and 1 tutorial for undergraduate students. So a typical contact hour per module will be about 36 hours. And then if you're worried about assessments, for example, how does that work? So for example, 1 module, or should I say 1 subject, it will be, say, global leadership. It's just 1 exam and the weightage is 100%. Whereas business strategy is 1 coursework, or should I say assignment, which is 100%. And then digital business, for example, is 2 coursework. So 1 written assignment, which has a 50% weightage, whereas the individual presentation is another 50%. So obviously, this information varies depending on the course that you're taking. And this is like an example of our calendar, academic calendar for 2019-2020. So say, for example, reading week is on. I have known students who have gone for a Europe trip instead of going to class because there's no classes. They have all the assignments done and they've sort of like time managed themselves quite well. So in the end, what they did was they decide to take a Europe trip. Right. A little bit about student testimonial. Caitlin, she studied in Mohawk. And this is her testimonial. I think the most important thing I should highlight is that she felt that the program her program has challenged her thinking, encouraged her opinions, and has provided a really good foundation for her to go into the workplace. And her regret is that she wished that she came to study with us sooner. Moving on a little bit about tuition fees and scholarships. So for students that's transferring from our partner colleges, we are giving we're giving a discount specifically for our partner colleges. So fee starts from £9,000. It also depends on what you're currently studying. It can be 10,000, can be 11, can be 12,000. This is just an approximate. I would say in total, if you are coming here to study with us for a year, it should be around the 30,000 Canadian dollars mark. We are also OSAP eligible, so you can apply for OSAP. We are approved by them, or you can also take it. So say, for example, alumni discount works if you've studied an undergraduate with us for a year. Decide that you love it so much that you want to continue studying a master's with us, you'll get a 20% discount off the master's program. Right, sorry, a little bit distracted by that. Right, RGU scholarships, as I mentioned, the scholarship is like for partner institutions, we give them a little bit more. So please, when you apply, do let us know which institution you're from, because then we can apply that scholarship discount for you. Obviously, if you are coming for a graduate certificate, for example, and you want to come and study your master's with us, we will also give you a discount. It wouldn't be a full £2,000 discount because you won't be finishing it for a whole year with us. You are getting credit transfer. Whereas if you're doing a bachelor's degree and you're coming straight in to do a master's, then it'll be a £2,000 discount. So how is student life like in here? So cost of living, I've spoken about this to a lot of students. I know that it's quite typical for you to buy books in Canada and USA. It is not so common here in the UK. So I would say you only spend more money, spend money on books and stationaries in the sense that you probably spend money in printing your assignments, maybe. And that's about it. You don't really need to do anything else. Mobile phones, for example, I personally only spend £13 on a 1-year contract. And this 1-year contract gives me 12 gigabytes per month, which is too much. So if you're a student and you're skimping, probably £10 would be enough. Some students even do pay as you go if you like. One thing I would highlight is that some of the providers will let you use your phone in the Europe. So make sure you check with them whether that's allowed. Some of them even have, you can use your data even in USA, for example, like 3. So do look at them and check with them. Accommodation wise, it's £98 per week. I'll show you some photos later on. So I'm going to move on. Transport, bus fares. Although it says £15 per week, you can also lower it down. Say, for example, you know that you're staying in the city, you want to take the bus into uni every single day. I would just encourage you to take an annual pass, as we call it, where it's a full 10 months during the duration, and it works out to be less than £15 per week. That works out to be the cheapest as far as I know. Eating out, it's really up to you. Cinema tickets, if you don't want to go watch the cinema, you're not going to need to spend that kind of money. Gym-wise, RGU Sport has student prices, but you can always go out and see whether there's anything else. I would say your student ID is quite a powerful thing in the UK because there's a lot of student discounts that's available for you. So say, for example, you're going to Topshop to do some shopping, students are eligible to get 10% discount. So please bring your student ID with you wherever you go, because I found that quite useful when I was traveling as well. So accommodation, our standard room starts at £98 per week. And we have about 4 different sites, as you can see. If you can see a little line here, that red line shows that that's the bus that runs through to our campus. So bus 1 and 2 on the first bus will take you to RGU. Number 1 stops right outside Ishbel Gordon building, as I mentioned. And number 2 stops on the main road outside of RGU, which is like a 2-minute walk into RGU, even less than 2 minutes, to be honest. So it depends on which one you want to take. They are around 10 minutes in duration. So it can be taking like, you miss the bus, but within 10 minutes, you will get another bus to get into RGU. It's quite a frequent line, I should say, very, very popular. A lot of people take the bus. And if you are wondering whether you want to stay in the city or in the campus, it's only about 20 minutes without traffic. Okay. Peter, I will reply that yes, there will be one. We call it a Ramsey House, where it's usually reserved for mature students doing postgraduate. Obviously, if you don't want to stay there, it's fine as well. There are more options which I am moving towards as well. So, if you don't want to study in RGUs, if you don't want to stay in this RGU student private accommodation, sorry, there is a privately built student accommodation as well. So these privately built student accommodation can be cheaper than RGU. I will just tell you straight away. And it's scattered across Aberdeen City. I would say the only thing that you need to probably think about in terms of the difference will be RGU will have a Rest Life team in our RGU accommodation. The prices will be different. And then the lease contract will be a little bit different. Besides that, they're more or less the same. Probably the room size is going to be different. The maybe the bed size, and also the location, as well as how new or how old it is. Besides that, everything's the same. So even if you study in an staying in an RGU accommodation, or staying with a private student accommodation, for example, that is like Caledon Court, they all have their internet and the electricity or heating bill all included in their lease. So I guess you need to choose where you want to study, which is a price point that you're comfortable with, and whether there's an ensuite toilet that is connected to the room that you're renting. And that's about it. I would say, and I would really encourage you, if there is a virtual tour of the place, do have a look and see whether you like it or not. Right. So a little bit of things that RGU do to support our students. So we have advice and welfare support. First and foremost, the most important one is the Inclusion Center for students who has disability or dyslexia or need some counseling and well-being, simply because they're feeling a little bit down, or study skills because they are struggling with their assignments and they need some pointers on doing like a literature review, for example. Our study skills sessions are all free, and students can always sign up to them, and as many as they want as well. Same for the counseling and well-being center. So do not be afraid to reach out if you need any support or help. For the careers and employability, the center offers you chance to book in 30-minute slots with them, and they can go through your CV, give you some pointers on how to improve it. If you have a interview that's coming up, you're kind of, a little bit nervous right now, you can always tell them that I need a mock interview to prepare me, and they will be more than happy to prepare you for that interview as well. Rest Life, as I mentioned earlier, they work alongside our accommodation team to have ambassadors based in the student accommodation sites, and they organize social events throughout the year to provide out-of-hours cover, support, care, and welfare to the students. So even if you are not staying in an RGU accommodation, you are more than welcome to join any of these social events that the Rest Life have prepared for the students. Just have to follow their Facebook, easy peasy. Employability is the heart of the RGU, as I mentioned just now. So they're the ones who give you counseling and career support. So there is a eHub online resources for you to pick up some new skills, for example. There's also study abroad options and placements options, and I will talk about that slightly later on. And speaking of innovation, we have a startup accelerator program that is open for application every September. Students or teams that have been picked are offered a £10,000 funding to try to develop their business ideas. We equip students with innovation skill workshops as well, and also the mentors to help them grow their business and establish their business. So a little bit of information. This is James. He came here to study with us for his undergraduate degree, loved it so much, continued to do his MSc in digital marketing, joined our startup cohort. So he is the first cohort, and he's now running his own business called Snap Digital in Aberdeen. Okay, a little bit about Aberdeen now. So where is Aberdeen? Aberdeen is in the northeast of Scotland. We are the third largest city in Scotland after Glasgow and Edinburgh. So if you're coming by plane from Toronto, for example, it's about 11 hours, including connection. If you want to go on a holiday to Paris or Amsterdam, or as far as Turkey or Spain, we have direct flights. And flights from London or Amsterdam, Manchester, they're about an hour and a half. And from Paris, about 2 hours. And that's because some of the airport's kind of busy, and that's the reason why it's kind of slow. But actually, it's less than that. On a good day when there's no air traffic, it's less than an hour and a half. Sometimes it takes just an hour. So it depends on your luck, but we're very connected. It's an international airport. A lot of people take direct flights off on a holiday. I myself have booked a holiday in one of the Canary Islands for just £98 back and forth, yeah, with luggage. So it is affordable to travel around in the UK and Europe. If you want to go to Edinburgh or Glasgow by car, it will be about 2 hours, 15 minutes to 2 hours and 45 minutes. By train, slightly shorter, 2.5 hours to Glasgow and Edinburgh. And you're more than welcome to take it from London, from Aberdeen to London. And I would say the train from Aberdeen to Edinburgh, that part, it's like really, really beautiful and scenic. If you take a train from Aberdeen down to Edinburgh or Glasgow, I would encourage you to sit on the left side of that train, because that's where you will see all the view, and it's really awesome. So we call Aberdeen Faberdeen, and Aberdeen is actually named the second safest city in the whole of UK by the Alternative UK Cities University City League table. Oh my God, that's a mouthful. I'm sorry about that. So we are also we have a cosmopolitan population of 228,000 people, and we have a large student population as well here. I would say one of the highlights that we show the students we care. We have a safe taxi scheme. So say, for example, if you were to realize that you've dropped your wallet on a night out and you don't have money to get a taxi to go home, and it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, what do? We use the safe taxi scheme and tell them that that's your student ID, you're studying in RGU, and they'll send you back, and we will later on get in touch with you to let you settle the taxi fare after. So you don't need to worry that you have to walk all the way back to your accommodation if you are in such a dire situation. Okay, but do take care. If you want some full virtual tour of Aberdeen City, feel free to click on that link as well when I send that through. So Aberdeen is also the third best city in the UK for millennials to live in. So that's according to Totally Money. We are the top city to work and live in Scotland, 6th in the UK according to PricewaterhouseCoopers. Our students earn the highest term time income in the UK, and that's according to NatWest Bank. How many hours can you work per week as a student? Well, that's 20 hours per week. However, if you're on a holiday, you're allowed to work 40 hours per week during holidays, right? Okay, so how do you apply to RGU? Apply through KOM, as most of you probably have done already. So I'm not going to dwell too much on it. These are some of the documents that you need, which KOM will also be able to advise you. So a little bit about what happens next once you've decided to come with us. We do welcome and supported enrollment. So international students who come study with us must attend one of these sessions, because it's an informative session that teaches you how to register for a doctor, how to open a bank account, what are the requirements as a Tier 4 student to come and study with us, what you need to do, a presentation from the immigration compliance point of view, and things like that. So that's all that you will need to know in that one, about like 30 minutes to an hour slot of that time when you come. And that's where you also get to meet all the lovely staff. Right. We have a welcome guide that's online. We update them all the time. But if you want some information prior to getting here, like more detailed information, that's how I will put it, feel free to download even the older version, because it has a lot of information that I, as a student, would have really liked to have when I was before I came, because it sort of it explains a lot of the nitty-gritty details that you would want as a student. Okay. But if you have any more questions, you can always ask me as well. So that's my email address. And for those who want to WhatsApp me instead, feel free to do that. And if I as long as I'll get to it, and I'll try to answer your questions as much as possible. And if you're interested in following our social media pages, all of them are listed here, and they are also clickable. So when I send that out, feel free to explore and play around with it. Anybody have any other questions? Yes, we do offer distance learning, Chris. So when you click onto our RGU, there's a filter, and on the filter you can click on distance learning, and then whatever subjects you're interested in, and it will list down all the courses that's available for distance learning. And if you're taking distance learning, you pay by per module or subject or course, as we call it. So every time you do a module, then you pay for it. So I actually met a student who did his MBA with us, and he did it with us for 10 years before he graduated, because he took his own sweet time to do them. Right. When we assess because I don't know what you are planning on applying for, and it really depends on the admissions officer. So we do give you we will consider that if there is like a substantial, but it's not always the case, because it depends on the particular course that you're looking for. I would say it's not common though. But the best thing that you can do is apply. Applying is free of charge. So there's no harm, and you can always decide to defer later on as well. So and there's no why not to try apply and then get an answer. So okay, what is can I advise on what is happening for a September intake? So for now, it's business as usual for us. So say, for example, we usually start on the 7th of September every year. That is because we want to ensure that the students get to go home for Christmas. So for now, everything is business as usual. But if there's any changes, we'll update you. I know like some of the other UK universities have decided that they want to push their course start dates 2 weeks later. It might or might not happen with us. We are still trying to gather as much information and determine that later on. We want to make sure that you get to go home for Christmas, because that's what the student voted for. And student union is quite important here in RGU, and we respect all your choices. So for now, it's no changes, but if there is, we will let you know. Okay. Yeah. Right. What will there be any changes due to the COVID-19? Well, the changes that has happened so far is obviously the students doing their classes online. But I will tell you that because we've always had online distance learning modules already prepared, so it's nothing new for us. It's just that now the whole university is using that instead of just the online distance learning students. Your lecturers will be at hand to help you as much as you can. If any of the students have an issue, regardless of whether there's a COVID-19 problem or not, I would say email your lecturers. Personally, as a alumni myself in RGU, I did my MBA, and one of the modules, I remember struggling to answer the assignment questions, and all I had to do was just email the lecturer, and the lecturer was more than happy to offer another hour to go through the assignment in detail and try to sort of like steer us towards the right direction. And in the end, I had like 6 other course mates with me in that class, because they all felt the same way as well. And the lecturer obviously extended that invitation to everybody else who was struggling. So I would say, feel free and do not be shy about asking for help. If you ask for help, somebody's going to try to help you. Chris, are you talking about what kind of courses are you looking for? We don't normally do summer. Summer sessions are for master's students, but our intakes are usually September and January. We do not have a summer session. Summer sessions, even so, would normally be maybe just a summer school for students that are visiting. It has no credit bearing at all. So for visa processing, it really depends on how efficient the visa center is. We do have a list that we sort of send out. I would say normally it's 2 weeks, but I've known of visa centers that take a very, very long time, like a month, but it's rare. In Canada in general, I've not had any issues with them. I don't know. And Sue, how long does your student normally takes in Canada? From my side, as far as we're concerned, it's always been no more than 2 weeks. Is it correct? As long as everybody, that person who submitted their visa, have all of that. Yeah, so it's about 2 to 3 weeks. Yep. Connor, I would say though, if you want everything to be quick, you can sort of jump the gun a little bit. What I did was, while I was if you do not have your results and you're sort of waiting for it, you can still work on making sure that your bank statement has that 28 money inside the bank for 28 days, so that once you've submitted your final transcript, you can also submit your bank statement together. And from there, within a week, you will probably be able to get your CAS after you've paid your deposit as well, of course. So, and from there, you can apply for your visa straight away. I know it is a little bit, I know like the visa process can be quite daunting. I myself have gone through them. I've gone through 3 visa processes in the UK right now. And I know that sometimes it is a lot of documents to go through, a lot of questions that they're asking, and a lot of things to prepare. Take it as your stride. KOM is there for you. They will be able to guide you. They are professionals at this. So don't worry about that. Yeah, exactly. So Sue has told you, you feel free to email Amelia. She'll be more than happy to help you. Connor, yes, I would say do that, because it's better to start early and have something in your hands than to be scrambling for everything else later on. We expect a CGPA of 2 point. Sorry, it's late in the evening today, so my brains are a little bit fried. So we are looking at a GPA of 3.0 above 73%. But we do have had students who apply who have missed a little bit of the mark, but because they have a really good personal statement, we will still give them an offer. Passing grade. Do I have that here? 40% most of the time, but it also depends on the grades and also the subject. But I would say definitely 40 and above, usually 50. Sorry, Chris, are you talking about your course, the one that you're taking? The grading system is slightly different. Let me pull this up, and then I'll probably be able to show you. Right. So can you see this? So that's our grading system. So you need to have 40 to 49% minimum on the D to pass that course itself. And anything above, if you get anything below, it's borderline fail. And if you're asking about what is a first class honors, second class upper, second class lower, this is the business school's example. I can't say it's all the same for every single school, but this is what is expected of you if you're studying a UG course, undergraduate course in the business school. That is their matrix. Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. If I've missed out anything at all and you want to speak further about it, feel free to reach out to KOM or us or both of us, and we will answer them accordingly. Bye.